Hi, good morning, everybody. Lovely that you are managing to look at the degree apprenticeships at Aston University. It's why Aston University in the first place. Basically, it's a fabulous place to work, and I would like to come to the university to actually study with them as well. So we've been delivering apprenticeships since 2015. And not only have we been delivering, we were the first university to have actually had our apprentices go through their degrees and graduate before anybody else in the UK. Every year, the amount of apprentices that are coming to us has gone up, and we've currently got over 1,200 apprentices with us at the moment. So as you can see, our graduates have achieved upper class degrees or higher. That's been actually one of the first degree boards that I sat in since becoming programme director, and it was fabulous to see how many of the students who I've seen starting on the programme have gone on to achieve again very well this year. So we have got triple accreditation from the following bodies. And in 2019, we were 15th in the trainer provider for Rate My Apprenticeship. So every year they do an apprenticeship role, and being where we are at the moment, I think we'll manage to work our way onto this yet again and even be better in a better place because of what we're offering. So Aston University, it's not a new university by any means. It was founded in 1895, but it wasn't originally a university. But since April 1966, it then was given its university status, and continues to have a very good reputation throughout the world with regards to the programmes that it offers over all different areas. I hadn't experienced such a wealth of knowledge about university until I came down to Aston. And the amount of people that I have spoken to now who have all heard about Aston University and the exceptional teaching and are aware of the courses that are on offer, and that's not just the apprenticeships, that's the university as a whole. So the 5-year beneficiary that we've got, oh, sorry, there's not the information there that I thought I should have had at the moment. So basically our beneficiary strategy is to make sure that we continue to have high quality teaching and student support for all our students. So as I say, I do apologise, I'm not quite sure what's happened to the slide that's here. We have collaborative research for high translation and impact for all our courses that we offer. We make sure that we try and develop students' skill, not only their knowledge, to help industry and benefit industry. And we make sure that we have that community engagement to make sure that this can be developed further as well. So why an apprenticeship? Why not just a university or a course? There's various different reasons for this. So what we can do, if you've got an apprentice who is interested in coming, why, as I said already, that you want them to come on board. Basically, all the courses align with your strategy. Okay, so depending on your area, your business sits, we normally have got a relevant apprenticeship that'll fit with you. So we've got a growing portfolio of apprenticeships, and these help to develop skills and knowledge in your organisation, and that will help fulfil your strategic policies. So why an apprenticeship again? Often in industry there is skill shortages. So what we try and do is we work in partnership with industry, the accrediting bodies, to offer degree apprenticeships that are specially created to fill these skill gaps in the sector that you are working with. So drive innovation and boost creativity as well. Degree apprentices are taught by industry experts, and often the teachers are still working in the industry themselves, such as myself. I run a business, and you're going to get somebody who's up to date, knowledgeable, and actually understands what's going on in the sector at any one point. They learn the latest research and its practical applications. and brings your business new skills and cutting-edge strategies. So also boosting productivity. So our management programme will train your workforce to reach their full potential. In a government survey, 78% of employers said apprentices had improved their productivity, and that was right from the start. So cost effective. Why is it cost effective? Well, degree apprenticeship tuition fees are covered by your apprenticeship levy. So it's saving you money in your normal, traditional training courses that the students normally go on, or your employees normally go on. And you can upskill your existing workforce. So you don't necessarily have to have an apprentice come in from the start and be an apprentice. Some of the people who actually work for you now can benefit from being part of the apprenticeship. So you can upskill your existing workforce. And it does help give a reward to high-performing employees and keep them loyal to your organisation by investing in their professional development. So if you've got somebody that's been with you for a long time and you want to show that you're helping them and developing them, this can be done as well. So the apprentice signs a commitment statement so that you know they're keen to be committed. It's not just for the faint-hearted. Apprenticeships are hard work, but they are really beneficial for both sides. And that commitment is a commitment to you as an employer from the apprenticeship for the specific period of time. So it's time effective. The apprenticeships typically study on campus 2 days a module, okay? And these 2 days are together. So it's normally for the CMD a Thursday and a Friday that they come on campus. So they don't need to be on campus all that often. Everything else is done through things like what we're using just now, which is called Blackboard. And I've mentioned before, apprentices are useful from day one. Degree apprenticeships spend the majority of their time at work so they can implement their new skills and knowledge straight away, adding real value to your business. So, who are some of the companies that already work for it, that work alongside us? And these are some of them. Some of them you might recognise, other ones you might not know. So we have already got quite a big portfolio of companies who come to us and have continued to come to us. But we always enjoy working with partners as well. And it'd be great to have anybody come on board, and we're happy to support where we can. What kind of apprenticeships do we offer from the business school? As I've mentioned, it's not just one specific apprenticeship that we have. We've got a lot of different ones. So you heard that Alan's going to be speaking to you soon with regards to the one that they offer, and the one that I'm involved in is the CMD, which is the Chartered Manager Degree Apprenticeship. And these are all different levels now. Level 6 is the degree, and level 7, it's actually moving now. It was to a different qualification, but executive leadership and management is level 7. So that's a slightly higher qualification aimed at sort of middle managers to senior managers. So as I mentioned already, the Chartered Manager Degree Apprenticeship is the one that I am the programme director for. The programme is 3 years long, so it is a commitment from you, and it is a big commitment from your apprentice, but it's worthwhile, as we've already said. The students with you, they can continue to work. There is an 18-month top-up available, and this is for students who have already done a level 5 qualification, but can do the top-up to give them the degree as well. So the qualification that they end up with, I like to think of it being round the other way, that you get your apprenticeship first and foremost. That shows that you have got all the knowledge, all the skills, and you've actually proven your worth. From that, then there's another 2 qualifications that the apprentice gets, which is their degree, which is the BSc that you can see here, but they also get Chartered Manager status from the CMI. To allow students to start at a relevant time and they don't have to wait all year, there is actually start times available for them. The normal academic start time, as you possibly say, is in September. Then we've got another 2 intakes in January and April. So hopefully that will also help assist with your business. If you miss one of the cut-off dates, they can join again at another time. You can't just come onto the course without some form of qualification, and there is some entry requirements. If it's a more mature student who has got experience, we also take that into consideration if the qualifications are not there in the first instance. But we would expect an apprentice to have at least 3 A levels at a B, C, C or equivalent. So if they've got a BTEC, we'll have a look at that as well. We look for level 2 maths and English or GCSE maths and English for students who would like to come, and hopefully we'll be offering the entry to be slightly different if they haven't got that. Again, to the individual and make sure that we can try and provide what we can to enable them to come onto the course, but they have to have a relevant job and some kind of qualification to enable them to do the apprenticeship. So the 3-year route, as I've mentioned already, the apprentices can start at different times, and all the modules run on a carousel basis. So they join at one point and they go through. However, all the modules remain the same. So stage 1 is basically the first year, and these are the areas that they'll be looking at. So the first year they'll look at financial management, marketing, strategic management, and developing managerial skill. Developing managerial skill is a long, thin module that runs throughout the year to help them actually take on board those skills that you need to become a good manager. Stage 2, your second year, and you've got the long, slim module, which is a professional manager, and again, that's helping develop that skill base for your apprentices as well. The other modules are operation management, lead and change management, and excellence in business project management. That excellence in business project management is a preparation for the final year, because in the final year, they have to undertake a hefty project that the apprentice will be in charge of and takes forward. So excellence in business project management enables the students to get the hang of what they do before they go into that final stage. On top of the project, they've got 2 elective modules that they can choose from, and once they've completed that final stage and they get their pass, which is wonderful as I already said, then they get their degree and then we put them forward for their actual apprenticeship. So the 18th month route is basically similar, as I said, to the 3-year route. However, if they've already got the level 5, it just fills in the gaps to take them up to degree level. You've got basically stage 1, which is marketing, financial management, lead and operational change, and in the final stage, again, they've got the project, strategic management, and developing leadership ability. So that's how that breaks down to the 18-month route. So if you have got a student on the level 5, it is an option for them to come and join us without having to start at the beginning again. So how does the teaching and learning take place? We've broken it down to make it easy to understand what is required for it. So 1.5 days studying, that's your on-campus days, 2 days on campus for the students. There's 9 hours of e-learning that a student needs to fulfill for every module that they're doing. And tutors are available for weekly office hours. So whoever's leading those particular modules will put set times into their diary, and a student can speak to them one-to-one on top of the e-learning. But as we've already mentioned, it is an undertaking for your apprentice, and there is 281 hours of independent and direct study required by the apprentice to be able to fulfil what is needed for the module. So that's how it's broken down. So the modular delivery, as I've mentioned, is through Blackboard, and Blackboard is what you're currently on at the moment. We've designed the course now so it runs, as I say, on a carousel basis, and each module is delivered over 12 weeks, except for those long thin modules that I mentioned previously. It's all the information that the student apprentice requires is on Blackboard, other than books that they can actually also access online if they're ebooks available. These books will actually be noted on Blackboard, but then they can go into the library online to actually access them. You mentioned before about the e-learning, and that is webinars. They tend to be held on specific evenings for the CMD, and they have to go for that module every second week for that module. If the student, as I say, is doing the CMD, they will then have a webinar every week because they will be doing that long thin module at any time. So it says twice per term, 3 times per year, students are required to take two on-day campus study days. So what happens is when a student starts, first of all, they will be invited initially to come along to induction, which is 2 days. That gets them ready, prepared, and we've had to do the induction online, and I think we might continue to do that on induction online until for the foreseeable future, because it's actually worked really quite well. But what will happen is then any new starters will be independent for that induction, but then they will be invited to that on campus, as I say, which tends to be a Thursday and Friday of that time. So it's 2 days together. Students attend Birmingham and they do face-to-face learning. They get to network with their other students. They're actually within that student environment, which is really fabulous and makes them feel a little bit special. We've had to do all the on-campus days currently online, but we're hoping to get back to some normality when things resume. So as I've mentioned already, distance learning is really for convenience. Reading, lecture cast, simulations, team activity, discussions, forums. So that's all in the background. The webinars we have try and help the participants keep on track. As I've said, if it's one module, it'll be every 2 weeks. Most of the modules are all activity based, so there'll be an activity held suggested before the students arrive. They know what they're going to be doing. They work in groups, they work together. The lecturer or tutor is there for them, and they can ask questions, and it's all very, very involved. So we've said already about our on-campus days, which it does bring study to life and makes the student feel special. So we've said already that it's over 12 weeks. So this is each module we try to run exactly the same. So we get to week 5 or 6, and that's where the students or apprentices come onto campus. So they have the module introduction, we've got webinars in weeks 1 and 2. Weeks 3 and 4, you can see what happens. They've got independent reading, assignment preparation, and then they tend to have an assignment due in either in weeks 5 or 6, depending on the day. It's broken down, so some learning, hand an assignment, and then the second part runs very similar, and they've got their second submission. So we do try and aim to only have 2 assignments per module, and we try and follow this model that's in front of you at the moment. So typical on-campus days, you tend to find if we are actually physically on campus, all the staff can be available because they've got coaches, etc. So we try and be available for everybody. Okay, so day 1, and this is not the induction days, this is actually the real on-campus days. They have an arrival, a briefing, they talk about the assessment, they look at the content delivery of the current module and how they're going to take things forward. In the afternoon, we tend to have the professional and personal development session, which runs along, that's that long thin module, and schedule sessions with degree apprenticeship tutor, which we'll discuss about before. That is basically the coach that is allocated to the student to actually see them face to face. The second day, it's current module again, basically outlining what's needed, having a look at what's going to be happening for the second part of the assignment, the module assessment, and then also portfolio contribution discussion. What we try and do is the students need to compile a portfolio all the way through their apprenticeship. And because they're on campus, we chat to them face to face. This goes on behind the scenes as well, but on campus, this tends to be a typical day that they'll have, a typical 2 days. Good thing is, it's no examinations, okay? It is all coursework, it's tailored assessments, it's relevant to the module, it's relevant to your industry, and often this assessments are actually relevant to your business place as well. So what we try and get the students to do is, unless it's a specific assessment, such as a finance one, part of that actually looks at a big organisation. However, they might then look at something within the organisation, whether it be developing a new strategy and things like that. So they can actually look at the assessments and can see whereabout they're going and what they've actually learned specific to the organisation. There is the endpoint assessment, as I've mentioned already. So the endpoint assessment is a mixture of that knowledge that they've gained through doing their degree, but also a collation of work that's been put into the portfolio, and that is to prove that they can actually do what they say that they can do. So that is work-based work. We need to have a project, as we said, for the final year. That's included for the endpoint assessment, and the students are then given an interview and a showcase. So it's a board, but it's not necessarily a board. The student's manager or a representative will come into the interview. You've got one of the coaches from Aston University, and you've got the independent assessor, and that's what the endpoint assessment is. You've got the 2 areas there. So the endpoint assessment, as I've said already, is a portfolio of the project and the interview panel. I think initially the students are quite daunted, but the assessors are so lovely, and all they want to do is get the best out of the student and allow them to highlight what they can do and make the best of things. So how do we support the apprentices? We've already said that students require a lot of work themselves. We are making sure that they've got their skill development, personal reflection to see how they can benefit themselves. We ask collaborative working to work with other people, and as I mentioned, that portfolio construction. So the dedicated coach that we mentioned before, that is somebody from Aston University who is a dedicated coach who spends, and it tends to be the same coach that they'll have throughout their time as an apprentice. It's not often that these get changed over. So the coaches can get a really good support with the student or the apprentice that can basically go forward, and they make sure that you're hitting all the correct competences that are set out by, in our case, the Chartered Management Institute, the CMI. What we do ask is that you, as an employer, find somebody within the organisation that will mentor the apprentice. It's really important that they've got somebody that they can turn to. It could be their manager, or it could be someone else. Some organisations have got their own specific support area that only work with apprentices, and it depends on the size of the organisation. But that's really important. That person can help open up opportunities to enable the student to be able to develop the skills that they're required to do. And that mentor also speaks to the skills coach on a quarterly basis to make sure that they're aiming in the right direction. So what we said is basically find them a mentor, help contextualise their degree content, which I've already mentioned, opening up those opportunities, identifying evidence and building a portfolio. So that can be done with the mentor, but also with the coach. But what is really, really important is that you give them time to be able to do this. The apprenticeship, as I say, require a lot of time for the student, but as part of the agreement, you must provide 20% off the job training for them. And this can be a mixture of being part of the on-campus days, etc., that we do, but you need to make sure that they've got time as well. But we can always give you guidance of what's included as that 20%. It sounds a lot, but it's not as bad as what you think. What you tend to find is that it could be 1 day a week. All different organisations do anything, but typically if you think it's 1 day a week, for about they get that. So what you want to do is start with the end in mind, knowing that throughout the time they must have that 20% off the job training. It's a requirement for all apprenticeships. It's not just Aston University. Regardless where you are, you need to do it, and we need to prove that you're doing it, and we track it. And at the moment, we're using a system called Skills Forward. We will be moving away onto that, into a new system at some point, but it's easy tracked on there, and the students can actually put down exactly what they do when, and there's a calculator that calculates out the timing. There's quarterly progress updates that are required, so it means that if there is an issue with off the job training, or you're unsure of how to give the student, or they're falling behind, it gives us an opportunity to highlight it in these quarterly progress updates, where we cover the student, how they're developing, but also off the job training as well. So what counts? Off the job training, as I've mentioned before, it's a mixture of individual study, it could be mentoring, it could be attending in industry conferences, anywhere whereby the student is developing and learning the skill. And it can be slightly confusing for people who have not had an apprentice before, but please be rest assured that we will help identify the areas. So hopefully I've covered most of what you would need to know as an employer from the CMDA side. And I'll pass over now, and I think Sarah's going to take the slides off and put Alan's up. But thank you for your time.
Thanks, Linda. Alan, if you'd like to go ahead.
Right, you just give me a second to sort files out. Thank you. Okay. So I'll just stop sharing that for a second. Right, excuse me, I'm just having a hiccup with my camera there for a second, but it's all gone now. Well, okay, my name's Alan Graham. I've been working here at Aston for about the last year, doing very little but preparing this business-to-business sales degree apprenticeship. My background, 25 odd years in business-to-business sales, 25 years old in higher education, 34 years married, and time off for good behaviour. So that makes me about 83, I think, or something like that. However, I can assure you that I'm probably the best sales professional, pound for pound, in my price range. So let's go into the business degree apprenticeship. Now, obviously, what I'd like to do is take you through absolutely everything that Linda's just beautifully taken us through, and then there'll be a test at the end. No, there won't. First of all, business-to-business sales degree apprenticeship. For me, one of the most important things is actually carrying the weight and the reputation of Aston University. I've been aware of Aston University as a professional and as an academic for decades, and the reputation is second to none. And in actual fact, achieving any level of qualification through a university of Aston's calibre is going to set anybody well on their pathway as their future career develops. So as far as the business-to-business sales degree apprenticeship goes, fundamentally, that's what it's about. You see, as soon as you put the word sales into anything, I get this horrible feeling that people think that someone's going to try to turn them into a used car salesman, Swiss Tony. It's not like that at all. In business to business, the majority of the work happening behind the scenes, reputation, relationship building, and transactional skills, as you can see from my little bit of blurb on the bottom there. And everything we do within the business-to-business degree, the sales degree apprenticeship, builds on what people have got already, but also gives them that area that they can really contribute within their organization. I suppose the only real difference in terms of delivery and outcome from what you've just heard from Linda is the fact that someone who's working in business to business has kind of understood what their vocation is or decided that's a pathway they want to take. Whereas from a pure management point of view, it could take you anywhere. So exactly the same. Most modules are over about 12 weeks, using exactly the same systems as you've just heard. A lot of virtual learning. Of course, COVID hasn't hurt apprenticeships like traditional degree programs. So because these programs are designed for that type of learning. Yes, obviously there's the individual face-to-face stuff that has been hurt. From the learning perspective, all the materials, there's no compromise at all. That's what it was designed to do and does it efficiently. Okay, so you've got activity-led webinars, on-site campus events, and skill support, exactly as you're saying with, as you would with the management program. Assessment is exactly the same. You're running throughout. You've got module assignments as you're going through those 3 years, 3 and a bit years. You've got a learning journal to maintain, and that takes you through into your project and endpoint assessment. Straightforward patterns supported all the way by the subject coaches, by people like me, and obviously the skilled module tutors, the people who are experts in their subject. So anybody who comes to do this program in the first year is going to be taken through these kinds of areas. Now, the top three, finance, marketing, and strategic management, they're straightforward modules. They're going to run over those 12 weeks. But the principles of sales, it runs long and thin. You've just heard it described to you, so I won't do it again. It's there all the time. And of course, because this is my program, that's the bit I lead on. Why finance, marketing, and strategic management in year one? That's a thundering good question. Fundamentally, if individuals, if the apprentices are going to make a contribution early on in their career, they need the right labeling and understanding of how various departments work. So if we took finance as an example, no one's going to turn anybody into an accountant in 12 weeks. But if, as part of their learning, the apprentice spends a day or so perhaps in a finance department, seeing how things work, understanding the labels, the needs, the pressures and demands of that part of the business. You could say the same for marketing. And from a strategic management point of view, what it's really all about is properly giving you an opportunity from an academic perspective to understand the organization that the apprenticeship is working for. And it's a great way of driving back down into the business. So we move on to year two. Presume we got a bit of energy left. And it looks like this slide is broken, but never mind. I know what's on there. Year two, it's all around the marketing communications and service and events marketing. Well, that one's one that sometimes raises an eyebrow, but it's important because not everything we do in business to business sales, in fact, much of what we do is not tangible. You can't hit it with a stick. It's invisible, and therefore it takes a different approach. And understanding that from the point of view of a marketing perspective is important. Project management is uniquely important in business to business sales, because keeping on top of your customer base is it's just something you can't do without, but it also gives you another string to your bow within your organization. And then of course the sales route carries on forward. And I've got a horrible feeling my third year is going to fall off the page, which yes, it has, and I do apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. However, what I can just take you through is that it's a shorter in terms of academic content, because you've no option modules here. You will be doing negotiation and innovation, and the rest of the time we'll be working towards the project and so on and so forth. So, oh, it has just about popped onto the screen there. Sorry, never mind. There we go. So there we are. As far as it goes from the point of view of the innovation and negotiation, that's a natural progression from the principles of sales and the sales professional. And finally, why would an apprentice consider doing this? Well, I kind of think that maybe that's why. Because a program like this is going to take you through most of the content of general management with a vocational route to it. And there are so many rewarded roles in industry for people who are business-to-business specialists. Right through the supply chain, your apprentice will be one of those specialists. It's a great start to a career. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Alan. We have also now got Rosie Jones with us, who can go through the digital marketing and project manager degree apprenticeships. I'll just get these slides up. Do you want to take over, Rosie?
Yep, that's absolutely fine. Hi there. Now, I am absolutely assuming that you have been through all of the details of how the programs themselves are set up, how the students engage, and how they are taken through the program. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of slides on here that you don't need to watch. So there's two programs, the digital marketing degree apprenticeship, as the other programs 3 years in length. We start September, January and April, and they need 3 A levels, but level 2 maths and English not completely essential. We have a way of sorting that out by the beginning of the second year. The course outline, as for the business to business sales, and which maps also to the CMDA in the first year at least, is including financial management, marketing, strategic management, and developing digital marketing skill. That's the one specifically looked at in the first stage here. And then for the digital marketing program, stage 2 looks more in detail at the marketing side, but also picks up those project management skills that are the same across all of the programs, looking at business project management and excellence in that way, as well as in specific and professional leadership skills with marketing. Stage 3, we draw in some of our colleagues from big data and analytics, and they teach that in the final year. And then, of course, there is the project proposal and the final project, which are the long program, where one of the apprentices just in the CMDA and in business sales will do a project, but in this context it will be a digital marketing project, and they will be running presumably a campaign or a feasibility study for a campaign that will be done online. I'm sure this has been covered elsewhere, and so just to move on to the content in the project management degree apprenticeship, again, exactly the same as we have there. First stage, the same, but with the principles of project management in there as the long, thin item in the modules there, to give it that focus and to give it that specialism. And then in stage 2, we are looking at operations management and leadership and change management, which they would learn with the CMDA students, and excellence in business project management equally, but the project management professional is that specialism that we look at, building on the excellence in business project management type skills and how one manages, particularly the people part of project management, which is always the tough bit once you've got the technical skills out the way. And in stage 3, advanced project management. So how do you do more broad and more technical projects? How do you govern and ensure the quality in the project management triangle as you go through? And then again, a project proposal, and one which is very focused and of a higher technical difficulty than perhaps one that's run through the CMDA, or indeed the digital marketing or the business to business skills. So that's the difference between the digital marketer and the project management degree apprenticeships. Again, there's detail on here about the program structure and about how the learning journey works, but it is from a student's point of view, it's the different content within the degree that is different, as opposed to the way that the degree apprenticeship is laid out. So we can go back over any of those, and that's generally the differences between where we are with digital marketer and project manager compared with the CMDA and the business to business sales.